Okay, so as you guys probably already know, Gilbert Burns had to pull out of his fight against Kamaru Usman due to him and his corner getting a positive test for COVID-19. So, because Burns had to pull out, the UFC started negotiations with Jorge Masvidal about 1 week before the fight, and they finally reached an agreement to be the main event for UFC 251. Alright, so Masvidal actually has a total of 48 fights. 48 fights, achieving a pretty okay record of 35 wins and 13 losses. Usman, on the other hand, he only has 17 fights total, with 16 of them coming as a win and only one coming as a loss, which was at the start of his career. Alright, so in Masvidal's last 5 fights, he's actually 3-2, which is okay, but he definitely made a comeback with his last 3. And in his 5th to last fight with Demian Maia, he lost. And, yes, Masvidal is pretty good on the ground, but, Demian is one of those guys who just knows how to keep his opponent down using the threat of his submissions. In his next fight against Stephen Thompson, it was actually Jorge's game. He could have won that fight, definitely, but, I think it was Stephen's night that night, as, Thompson had about 30 more significant strikes in the fight. So after Masvidal's second loss in a row, Masvidal just decided to take a year-long layoff, and in 2019 he made his long-awaited comeback against Darren Till. In that fight, I would say Masvidal was the better striker with, I think, about almost double the strikes, and in the fight, Masvidal actually almost got knocked out with the hard hit from Till, but he regrouped and came back in the second round to get an amazing KO on Till. Now, personally, in his next fight with Askren, yes, he did practice that knee before the fight, but did it really show anything to how he could potentially beat Kamaru Usman? Not really. So, in his next fight, after the Askren fight, it was against one of the best boxers in the world right now. No, in the UFC right now, not in the world. It was Nate Diaz. And obviously, Masvidal could have took Nate Diaz down and won the fight that way, but Masvidal just decided to beat Nate at his own game, beating him with about 3 times more significant strikes, until the doctor noticed a cut. I think it was under his left eye, I think, and the doctor stepped in and stopped the fight. In my opinion, I think that when Masvidal fought Maia and Thompson, I don't really think he was the same Masvidal that outstruck Nate Diaz or knocked out Darren Till. Honestly, I think that in his year off, he learned a lot, and he really improved his striking game. So, Usman, on the other hand, he's actually undefeated in the UFC, beating guys like Leon Edwards, Demian Maia, who Masvidal actually lost to, Rafael dos Anjos, Tyron Woodley, and most recently, Colby Covington. In his second to last fight with Woodley is a striker, Usman actually beat Woodley on the feet. He beat Woodley on the feet with five times more strikes and 2 takedowns added on top of that. This just shows he could strike with the biggest power puncher in the division, and he could also get people to the ground and Khabib them. Smash them. Same. And in his next fight with Colby Covington, it was much closer than his Tyron Woodley fight, but in the beginning of the fight, Usman actually showed his power, and he knocked Colby's jaw back into his face so hard, it broke his jaw. Bro, that affected Colby for the rest of the fight. And, the fight was pretty even if you look at the amount of strikes landed by both fighters. But, you could really tell that Usman's strikes were landing much harder than Covington's. And in round 5, with just 50 seconds left, Kamaru's strikes started to add up as Covington got knocked out. So, in the fight with Masvidal and Usman, I think Masvidal will do a little bit better. Not much better, but he'll do a little bit better on the striking game, but not by that much. He has some really good takedown defense, and once he's on the ground, he could scramble up pretty well, which it'll help, as I think all Usman really wants to do is maybe try and take Masvidal down and try to smash him, kind of like Khabib does, which, I mean, Khabib does that with everyone. Now, it honestly just depends on if Usman can take Masvidal down, he'll probably win. Now, even if he can't take Masvidal down, I mean, he still is a pretty good striker with much more power than Masvidal, so just because Usman has his takedowns to fall back on if he gets rocked, and he can also stand up to Masvidal and do pretty good on the feet. So that leads me to my decision. I'm going to have to choose Kamaru Usman to win the fight by decision. Alright, if you agree, disagree, or have something to say, make sure to put in the comment section below, and I'll make sure to get back to every single one of those comments. Make sure to like, subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss the absolute best MMA content out there. It's been fun, but I'm out of here.